Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Okay, you can't be rambunctious. You gotta settle down. We are here with my friend Carrie Lannell from Lotus Pet Foods. And you may remember Carrie and I were just discussing that she did a Facebook Live with us last year, just after quarantine started, and joined us from Florida, from your home in Florida.
Yep. And my son was there. I'm sure if you were there, you remember.
Her young son joined our Facebook Live and was sharing his monster trucks with us. So we had to laugh about every parent in America feeling just like that on all of their Zoom meetings and everything else, with these little toddlers joining in and sharing everything they had to give. So we are glad to have Carrie here to talk to us more about Lotus Pet Foods. And so I guess the best place to start is to tell you guys as we go along, if you see a Lotus product that you would like to try out, I would ask that you please comment on this thread, and we will send you a message with a special surprise. So please comment as we go. If there is a product from Lotus you'd like to try out, we will respond after this with a special surprise for you. So be sure to follow along and do that for us. And let's start at the very beginning about Lotus. Let's talk about the owner and let's talk about how it got started, what his inspiration was.
Yeah, so we have stores in Southern California. We're a company based out of Torrance, just south of LA. And back in the early 2000s, there were some oven-baked kibbles that stopped oven baking. So Darren, the president of Lotus now, he decided that we needed to have an oven-baked kibble that was originally exclusively for our stores in Southern California. So that's how Lotus was born. And then obviously now we're across the whole entire country. We're even in Canada, we're in Japan and China and places like that as well. So that's kind of where we started. And then in 2011, we decided to open up our own cannery so that we could make our own cans and do them the way that we wanted to do them.
So let's talk about baking. Yes. And why Darren felt like that was such an important part, and why he was so sad to see it leave some of the other companies and wanted to bring it back.
So baking really is the superior way of cooking a kibble for dogs and cats. The nutrient retention is close to 100%, so you're looking at close to 100% of your vitamin retention and the protein. So the entire chain of essential amino acids, which we know has been a huge topic of conversation in the past couple of years with the DCM scare and all that stuff. So an oven-baked kibble actually retains all of the taurine that comes from the meat, so along with all the other essential amino acids.
And so just to kind of catch those of you up who maybe are not familiar with how kibble is made.
Yes.
Kibble is made, traditional kibble is made through what's called an extrusion process. And the extrusion process is at much higher heat.
Yeah.
What would the temperature difference be?
So the easiest way to think about the difference between extruding and baking would be extruding is similar to cooking your food in a microwave. So it kind of gets cooked from the inside out at a very high temperature, very rapidly. And oven baking would be exactly what you think oven baking would be. So it's just on a much larger scale. So it takes about 10 minutes for our kibble to cook from the beginning until end. You might say that that's quick, but extrusion is about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and the internal temperature of the kibble only gets to about 160 degrees. So that's just high enough to cook out any pathogens from like your poultry and stuff like that, but not hot enough to cook out any of the nutrients from the ingredients.
Okay. And so talk to us a little bit more about the inclusions in the kibble diet, like where your ingredients are sourced and what some of the ingredients are like.
Yeah, so we, our bakery is actually up in Canada, so we go with all European Union standards. So all our meat's human grade. All the meat is sourced in the United States and Canada, as well as New Zealand for some of our treats. So we have the venison and the lamb that you can see here. That stuff does come from New Zealand. All of our ingredients are non-GMO, so we're really using the best that you can. And then on the meat side, no hormones, no antibiotics. So we're looking at good, clean, quality meat going into all that.
The really unique thing as well about baking that I didn't kind of prompt you to talk about was the way the kibble is broken down. So one of the really unique things that I've seen you guys do is take the kibble and put it in a bowl of water with an extruded kibble. And so extruded kibble kind of acts like a sponge and absorbs the water, whereas the Lotus kibble kind of breaks it down and it just falls apart instead of acting like a sponge.
Yeah, so the Lotus kibble is it's baked just like a cookie is baked, so it's actually more porous. So the water could get in there and then it breaks it down. Extruding a kibble is the same way that like your cereals are made. So if you have puffed wheat that you're eating for breakfast and you forget about it for a few minutes, you come back and that puffed wheat is a lot puffier. So that's the same sort of process. So the oven baking process allows the kibble to break down easier in the dog's stomach and process easier.
So from a digestive standpoint, it's a little bit easier for the pet to digest.
Yep.
Anything else we should cover? You guys do offer small bites, which are really, really tiny.
So I'll move this. I'm not sure how visible it's going to be for you guys to see on Facebook here, but these light gray bags, these are our small bites, and then we have the darker bag here. These are regular bites. So the regular bites aren't too large, but the small bites are...
Oh dear, sorry. I'm going to take that there and I'll get...
So we've got a cute little window on all of our bags here, so you can see the small bite versus the regular bite. The small bite is really perfect for those little dogs, like these little guys here. If they're real picky, like I said, it is cooked the same way as your biscuits are cooked, so dogs really think they have a bowl full of treats there. So excellent for picky dogs. But these little bites, they just kind of crumble in your fingers. So imagine, a dog that doesn't have any teeth, or a dog that may have had dental surgery or something like that recently.
Meredith says yes, she does understand dental surgery.
Yeah, so it breaks apart very easily, and it's just really tasty.
Good. Yeah, I know. And it comes in several different flavors. You also have grain-free versus grain-inclusive.
Yeah, so we have our grain-inclusive line, which is our life stages. You're looking at puppy, adult, and senior. And then we have our grain-free options. So there's 4 different grain-free options. We have a duck, a turkey, a lamb, and then this is our fish one here. So a lot of companies use like a salmon or a generic white fish. We've chosen to use sardine and herring just to be more specific on what we're using.
And sardines have a really short lifespan, so they have a lot less toxins included.
Much
in the
less,
meat.
yeah. Yep. So, and then we have our cat line. A couple of years ago, we switched our entire kibble cat line over to a grain-free option because we just know that that's much better for cats. So we have 4 different flavors on that. We have the sardine and herring as well for kitties. We have a low-fat chicken, which is this one. And we have a standard chicken and then a grain-free duck as well for the cats. And it's really palatable. The cats are crazy over it.
Well, and before we move on from the kibble, one of the things I really want to talk about is your senior line, which is grain inclusive, but works very well for special needs diets. So let's talk a little bit about that and why it works so well for special needs diets and what special needs diets it could work for.
Yeah. So our senior diet really is a special needs diet for dogs that have different kinds of ailments. Specifically, you're looking at dogs that have any sort of kidney issues. The ash content is very low in that food. It's only about 4.5%. And we can keep the ash content so low because we only use fresh meat in it. So we're not using any rendered meal proteins at all. And that is where the ash content comes from. So ash is like your magnesium, your calcium, your phosphorus, things like that. Those are important into a dog's diet, but if you have too many, they can overwork the kidney. So dogs that are, for example, my dog that passed away a couple of years ago, he was diagnosed with the beginning stages of kidney failure. And we switched him immediately to the Lotus Senior, and he went 6 full months without any issues. So.
Well, and it can work really well for dogs that have a tendency towards kidney or bladder stones.
Yes. Yeah, because the ash content is really low in that as well. So UTI problems, kidney stones. Darren, who probably will mention at least one more time during this whole thing. This is the sweetest thing ever, but he rescues senior chihuahuas, and he had.
I heard that about Darren.
Yeah, he had, I think it was Hershey. He had chronic struvite crystals, and the vet wanted to put him on a prescription diet. He said, I think I have something that might work for him. And he put him on a senior diet. He never had another crystal again for the rest of his life, which is pretty amazing for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it works very well for the people we've recommended it to as well. So
Also,
we do love it.
great for dogs that have pancreatitis.
Okay,
because
that's
that-
a very common
Yeah,
problem.
very
Wow.
common. Yeah, that the fat content in the senior diet is 9%, so quite low.
Yeah. Well. Okay, moving on to one of my favorite things about Lotus, I will say, is your cans. Let's
Yes.
talk about your cans.
So this is one of my favorite things about Lotus too. So very unique in the pet industry. We own and operate our own cannery. So that's in Southern California. It's connected to our office. So also Darren's office is right in the cannery there. So he's got a first eye view on everything, I guess. But we decided to open it in 2011 because we couldn't find a canning manufacturing facility that would do our cans the way that we wanted them to be done, that would use the ingredients we wanted to use, and that would be honest and trustworthy with us. So Darren decided, I'm not going to put my name on something if I don't know what's going on with it.
So it's very rare, just so everybody knows, it's very rare for a pet food manufacturer to own their own cannery. There are limited numbers of pet food canneries in our country. And so if you want a canned pet food, you generally have to partner together with one of those canneries to create your cans. And so that means with a lot of other manufacturers, their ingredients are coming into the same port that maybe another company's ingredients are coming in from. And so it doesn't give you as much exact control over the cans that you create or the ingredients that are going into that can. And you run the risk, of course, if another company that is being manufactured at that plant has a recall, it could cause a recall for everybody.
Yeah, there's
just kind of
usually a
depending.
domino effect when that stuff happens.
Yeah, and so it's a really cool thing to have your own cannery, but even cooler what you guys do because you're a micro cannery.
Yeah, so we're a micro cannery, and what that means on the grand scale of things is that we only have one line. So between each batch, everything gets cleaned off, but we're really just doing small batches, one at a time, to make sure that the quality is there and that everything is being done the way that it should be done. So this is an example of our venison and our turkey here. So these are just juicy lines of cat cans. These are actually the only hand-packed cat cans that are made in the United States. So when I say hand-packed, we employ many people who stand on the line and they hand pack the meat into the can. And what this does is it holds up the integrity of the meat. So when you open these, it's going to look just like shredded turkey, shredded chicken, whatever the protein is, because that's exactly what it is.
So again, hold up that can. Somebody's hands literally took the product and put it in that can and then put it on the line to be sealed and go from there to be packaged into cases and all that kind of stuff. But it is hand packed by people, which I think is the coolest thing. And it's the same thing for the Just Juicy line in.
Yeah, so these, we also have line for dogs as well. So we have our stews. I didn't grab a Just Juicy for dogs, but you get the idea. So we have the stews for dogs. So you can see, perhaps you can see here. There are whole chunks of fruits and vegetables in these cans as well. So we've chosen to put in blueberries, carrots, sweet potatoes. You'll even see like asparagus tips in there. And that's for like antioxidant purposes, different vitamins and minerals. It also just gives you that feeling that you're kind of giving your pet a homemade meal that you would have done. Yeah, like a stew or casserole, exactly. So all of our cans are, unless noted on the can, are single protein. So really good for any dogs or cats that might have a protein allergy. Another really wonderful thing about our cans is that we don't use any carrageenan. So carrageenan is a processing aid or a thickening aid. Yeah. So it's derived from a seaweed, but the issue that you can run into with carrageenan is that processed with harsh solvents that really, once you use that, you can't really rinse it out with water. So we chose not to use that, but we use an ingredient called agar-agar, which is also a seaweed, but it's processed with hot water. So you're not using any chemicals in there, anything unnatural. Yeah. So any dogs or cats that might have like gastrointestinal upset when they eat cans or anything like that shouldn't experience that with this. Another thing is that we don't add any water. So we're using the broth from the meat to cook. So we put the venison in the steamer. all of the liquid that is left over from that we keep, and then we add all of our vitamins, minerals, oils, all that stuff back. And then once they hand pack it, they put it on the line. That's the liquid that gets added back in. So exceptionally palatable.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you take another can and you turn it around, especially some of the juicier, stewier ones, you may see water added in.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see that on Lotus. You're going to see bone broth.
Yeah.
And the bone broth is especially good. We have talked a lot about the benefits of bone broth, adding back in the collagen and the good stuff that you lose when you steam bones and when you cook bones down. So that gets added back into these cans. So literally you're keeping as many nutrients as possible in that can, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And for cat owners out there, it is very, very important that you're getting at least a little bit of can into your cat's diet every day. Moisture is very important for them. We do have the kibble here, which my cat loves. He loves it very much, but we also make sure to get some of our canned food into him every day, and we do some raw as well. So we'll talk about the raw here in just a little bit.
Moisture is important for all animals, including us with our meals. It helps so much in the digestion process, especially if you're feeding something where the moisture has been removed, like a dry kibble. So adding back in wet food, I frequently will have people come in and they'll say, my cat's not eating the dry, but I don't want to add in canned food because they're afraid of teeth issues, or they're afraid that it's going to be a treat that they're going to have to keep up. But the reality is it will greatly improve your pet's health if you're adding in moisture to their diet.
Yes.
And so don't look at this as a bad thing. Look at it, or don't look at it even as a treat. Look at it as a necessary component to your pet's diet.
Yes. Anything that you can really add in. So I am a big proponent for rotational diets.
Yes.
So getting a different protein every time, or we have a ton of different varieties for our cans. So from chicken, salmon, turkey, pork, even some exotic proteins. Our most recent can is this green tripe loaf for dogs. Cats can eat it as well, and it's actually a complete diet. So it's one of the only complete diet green tripes out there.
If you have a senior dog or you have a sick dog that is kind of refusing a lot of things, green tripe is a good go-to.
Yes.
It's very nutritious, but it stinks. It really stinks a lot.
Yeah.
But that kind of lends itself very well to animals who are ill. And like you were saying, it being a complete diet is really good. So if you have a senior pet that maybe has kidney issues or has another reason to maybe be nauseous or have some upset tummy, so it's turning them away from some traditional foods, always try green tripe. That's kind of a good go-to staple for animals who are refusing other foods.
Yeah. And these, all of our loaf cans have a pretty good light consistency. So if you do have those dogs that you want to keep kibble, but you want to add a little bit, the loaf cans are really good for kind of coating every little piece of kibble, so they don't just pick the goodies off the top and leave the kibble still
mix it up really good.
Yeah.
Well, good. No, and I love Lotus cans. We feed raw, of course, but we add in Lotus cans quite a bit and add in some Lotus kibble every now and again. So we love the Lotus line.
Great. Yeah. And the owning the Cannery is really unique and sets us apart from most other companies out there. So
absolutely. Anything else we should add about cans?
No, I don't think so. We could touch on the treats real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about this treat.
So these are made at the same place that our Kibble is made up in Canada. These are our soft baked treats. So they are also unique. Pretty much everything we do is fairly unique. We don't want to be just another pet food brand with the same things that everybody else has. So we have been getting requests for treats for a very long time, and it took a while to finally decide what we were going to do. But we do soft baked here. So they look crunchy, but they're not. They're kind of right in between a really soft training treat and a biscuit. The easiest way for me, so everybody can understand, is kind of like the consistency of chilled cookie dough. So it won't snap apart, but it kind of peels apart. And we decided to use some very unique ingredients. Miscanthus grass is a really good source of fiber. It's a non-GMO plant that's it grows very quickly, so we don't have to worry about
sustainability.
There you go. That's the word.
Yeah, it is very sustainable.
Yeah, and then some aloe vera gel extract, which we get lots of questions about. We're actually using the actual gel and the extract from that. And what that does is help keep the treat in its moist state, or moistish state, I should say. And then a lot of gut health benefits to using aloe in a pet's diet. So I have not yet met a dog that has turned their nose up to any of these flavors. They're all grain-free. They're all single protein. We have 6 different flavor varieties. So, you know, even if your pet has an allergy to something, you'll be able to find something in our treats that will work well for them.
And they're very low in kcal. So if you have that pet that likes to go outside and do their business and expects a treat when they come right back to the door, this is a great option for you because it's very low in kcal. So you're not going to be adding in a lot of calories to their diet, but it does give them a reward.
Yeah, I think they're between 2 and 2.5 kcals per treat. My favorite thing to do with these is my dog has a treat bone, and they're the perfect size to shove in that treat bone, and she runs off with it.
Yeah, they work great in puzzles, too.
Puzzles, yep. Freezing in a Kong, also great for training. So they're the perfect size for training, and the dogs go crazy over them.
So, they're great. We love them. Okay. Next up, the newest addition to the Lotus line. And before we go over the newest addition, for those of you who have joined us, be sure to comment with any questions you have. I will definitely go over questions here in just a little bit. And if you see a product that you'd really like to try out that you've never tried out, or you would like a free sample, be sure to comment what you'd love to try, and we will respond to you in a message with a special surprise. So be sure to put that on the thread. If there's something that you're interested in trying out, we would love to hear from you. Okay.
All right. So we, about a year and a half ago or so, we decided that we wanted to make a raw food for cats because we know as a company that raw is the most biologically appropriate thing for cats. I mean, it really is for dogs too, but we started with cats. So we have 6 different flavors for our kitties. We make this in our cannery, or the rawery is what we call it, in the frozen room there. So we got all the equipment that we needed to do it ourselves because, again, we didn't want to have somebody else do it. Yeah. So we chose to keep the diet free of bones, so there's no ground bone in it at all, and there's no fruits and vegetables in it. So cats are carnivores, and that's really kind of what they need. It's 95% meat in there. So we kept the bone out because we wanted to be able to put the calcium and phosphorus in there to be exactly where the cats need it. If you have ground bone in your diet, you just have to take it at face value at whatever those calcium and phosphorus levels are. So we chose to just use whole muscle meat in there and then put calcium and phosphorus in there to be a complete diet for kittens through healthy seniors. So it's going to be appropriate for even the littlest of guys, which, by the way, is the perfect time to start a cat on raw.
Yes.
Cats are imprint diet or imprint eaters. So really what they start eating is what they're going to want to continue eating. So but we do have some tips and tricks for switching your cat over to a raw diet. If you're feeding just kibble, my suggestion is to start introducing some of the cans in there and get them used to the idea of a wet portion of their meal. Ideally, you would then start mixing the raw with the can, and you want to make sure that your raw food is at room temperature, the same as like a can.
Especially for cats.
Yeah.
Dogs can be sensitive to that temperature, but cats are most especially
cats
sensitive.
We know they're our little persnickety friends.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be sensitive to their needs.
They're like a fresh kill.
Yeah. Well, that's actually another thing that I have heard of people putting, and this might be a little bit out there, but I have heard people putting some raw in like a plastic bag and poking holes in it and hiding it, so that the cat is actually thinking that they're hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also another option that you can do. But I really like mixing warm water in with my cat's raw when he gets it, because I really like adding moisture into his diet because I know that's very beneficial. So I personally kind of make it into a soup, and that's how he likes to eat it. So.
Yeah, and starting it out early. I was just having this conversation with a customer today who was trying to add some raw in for her cat and her dog because she had read about what great benefits the raw diets had. And she literally just defrosted it, put it at room temperature, and just went, voila. your dinner is served. And she expected them to go crazy for it because she was like, they eat anything. And I said, I understand that, but raw diets are different. And if they've never been presented a raw diet before, it's not like they're always going to go and just gobble it right up, especially cats, but dogs too, because it is a little bit more foreign way of eating. So it doesn't mean that it's not good for them. It doesn't mean that it's not, a diet that they're going to want to eat. You just may have to find out the way to present it to them, and mixing it with canned food on both levels, to get it started is definitely a good way. And warming it up is definitely a way that it works quite nicely too.
So you don't want to, some people think, I need to put it in the microwave or something like that. That can actually denature some of the benefits of actually feeding a raw diet. So warm water. What I used to do is put it in a plastic bag and then put it in a bowl of warm water to gradually warm it up. You don't want to rapidly warm it up. So no ground bone, no fruits and vegetables on the dog and the cat side. It's pretty much all meat. We also have organs in there, so we have heart and lungs, which is very beneficial. A lot of amino acids in there for the cats and dogs. These variety packs are really great for those people that want to, like we were talking about earlier, rotational diet. This has a 3.5 ounce tub of each flavor that we offer. So the flavors that we offer are pork, chicken, turkey, beef, lamb, and venison. And these variety packs for the cat and for the dog have one of each. I personally love this because you can just thaw the little tub.
Small
it doesn't
container.
take very long. You open it. I put the whole thing in there. It's one feeding. And then for a dog, if you have a small dog, you can do the same thing. Otherwise, if you have a big guy, it's really good for topping because we believe that any raw is better than no raw.
That was another thing I was going to make sure we covered.
Yeah.
So you may think, and it is true, that this is not realistic if you have a Great Dane.
Right.
And it's not realistic if you have a Great Dane, but some raw is better than no raw. And so if you're looking for a great way to introduce raw in an inexpensive way, top the kibble. So if you're getting Lotus kibble, you can top the kibble with the raw, and then you want to deduct from the calories. Don't put their whole bowl of kibble plus add the raw, because raw is also very concentrated. So that's the other thing you need to consider when you're considering portion control. So do half of the recommended daily feeding for your Lotus raw and half of your recommended daily feeding for your Lotus kibble, and then split it half and half. Or if you're doing a quarter raw and 3/4 kibble, you just split it accordingly to the back of the package. And go for what your pet needs. Sometimes it can be a little bit different based on your own pet's K-Cal needs. But anything else you want to cover about the raw? It is the coolest thing.
It is very cool. I think I pretty much covered everything on the raw here. We do have a frequent buyer program for everything that you see here. So the cans are buy 12 cases, get one free. All of the kibble is buy one bag, get one free. Same with the raw here. And then as the treats as well. So
all kept up through Astro.
Yeah, so you guys don't have to do it.
Yeah, so if you've shopped with us, you know that we keep track of it all through Astro, and we'll just scan it at the time of checkout. We also sometimes have coupons available through Astro for our friends at Lotus. And then if you go to the Lotus website and join their email list, they will send you coupons that you can redeem at our store. So that's another great way to do it.
So if you are not signed up on our newsletter yet, go to lotuspetfoods.com. You will instantly get a $10 off coupon that you can come in. Make sure you print it right away. You come in and you can try anything with $10 off. So that's a pretty good coupon. And then every month you will get a coupon or two from us, and then a little bit of information on our food.
And speaking of newsletters, April 1st, we will be sending out a newsletter, and it will go to our newsletter list. It will also go, we will post it on our Facebook page and social media. We will be offering, do you want to tell everybody a special deal from Lotus?
So these guys, they're not only available in our variety pack, but they are available individually. So we're going to be doing these for the whole entire month of April. We're going to be selling each tub for only $1, which is a phenomenal price. So if you want to try all of the flavors or stock up for your cat or dog, April would be the best time to do that.
And look, that's like less than a can of food.
Much less than a can of food.
So
yes.
it's a huge savings and a great way for you to try out this new product that we have here and see how your pet feels about it and test it out.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do that. So you're going to have to stay posted to our social media accounts because we will post that coupon to our social media accounts, but also send it out through our email listserv as well. So let me see what questions we might have here. Got lots of hellos from Brittany and Christine and Francis and Marty. And Diane says her cats love Lotus. I guess the Lotus cans I think Diane gets. I frequently see her order those online. Brittany says Ace loves the treats and she loves that they're low in K-Cows.
Great.
And Lotus Pet Foods. How handy dandy.
Lotus.
They posted a link to us. They posted a link right there in our handy dandy links to, I'm going to put that up so that we can show that. But there's the link in the comments about how you can sign up for their coupons. And like we said, they will send out some great coupons. We see them redeemed a lot. And if you purchase online from our website, just let us know in the comments field that you have a coupon that you want to email to us, and we will redeem those coupons and give you the refund for the coupons. And then, of course, you can bring them into the store and utilize them here. You can email them to us if you don't want to print them out at home. We do have to print them out because we have to use them to redeem them at our distributor level. But you're welcome to email them to us and we will print them out and redeem them for you. So that is a great thing. Let's see. Marty says, I would like to try the dog kibble. Molly has become a fussy eater. She's driving her crazy. Marty, we will help you out with that. After this is over, I will send you a message. Diane says coupons are so helpful.
Yes,
they really are. Amy, she says, Hope, they have a dachshund rescue from my dachshund rescue organization, and Hope has a lot of skin issues, and she says Hope loves the raw diets.
Great.
So, and that is one of the wonderful things about raw diets is it can be so helpful for skin and coat.
Yes.
Skin and coat issues sometimes can be spurred by the carbohydrates that have to be used in some of the kibble forms. And even though we try to use little amounts of carbohydrate, you have to use some amount in order to bind it together.
So one thing that we did not talk about, touch on very quick, speaking of carbohydrates, an oven-baked kibble actually delivers 50% less starch or sugar from the carbohydrates. So you might see like our potatoes and peas or, whatever starches we are using in the diet. But the oven baking low temperature doesn't allow the sugar or starch molecules to open up or become available for the pet's body to use. So pets that have weight issues or like Hope was saying with the skin problems, yeasty skin problems, itchy ears, smelly feet, that sort of stuff, you're really cutting down on the glucose load that's being delivered into the pet's body with a baked kibble.
So glucose in pet food can often feed the yeast. Is what you're kind of talking about with skin and coat. And so if you have a dog that has skin issues or ear issues and it smells like what we would call yeasty, sometimes the higher carbohydrate load can be feeding that yeast and encouraging it to stick around. So what Carrie was saying is just by baking it, it lowers that available food for the yeast and can help make the skin issues better. The two of them look hilarious today. So if any of you guys have questions for Carrie, I'm going to leave it up and please holler. But if you're not online today, right now, joining us live, we are going to be lucky enough to have Carrie here tomorrow.
I will be here.
11 to 2. She will be here at a table doing demos, sharing product information, and she will be in person with some special coupons too.
Yes, please come in and see me. We can talk about any issues you have, anything that Lotus might be beneficial for your pet, and then I will have coupons for you guys. So please come see me.
Come see Carrie tomorrow. She will be at our Battleground location. See, I said they were being so good, and I should never have said that. Should never have said that. But so far, no new questions. Hopefully that just means we've been so thorough with our information. I'm hopeful, once COVID lightens up, that some of us from here will be able to go to the Lotus offices and be able to see how everything is made. I always love to do that. I've done that at a couple of other companies, and it's always such a great, informative session.
Yes, I would love for you to come out and be able to share that with your customers. With
Yeah.
photos and all that. It's a phenomenal experience to see that.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that it's in California. We all know how much I love my sunshine. So, but I really do love this company. I know Darren. Darren actually has been to our store locations. Funny story that when Darren came to our Battleground location to meet all our staff and to do a training, we had a massive thunderstorm, or for some reason, we were without power. And so we were supposed to have our training in the store with our staff, but we had to move it over to our grooming salon because here at our Battleground store, our electricity is on 2 different grids.
Oh, wow.
And so our grooming salon still had power, but our store did not. And so we did our training over in the grooming salon, and he was really having to roll with the punches because we had just lost power. We were trying to get everything situated. We were still checking out customers in the dark. We had flashlights going everywhere. So I always like to tell that story because Darren walked in here and he just rolled right with the punches.
Darren's really good at rolling with the punches. He's a great man.
So we love that we can say we know the person who started. That's always one of the wonderful things about the foods that we carry, is we really like to be able to say we know everybody involved with this food from the top down, and that's very important to us. It's very important from a quality control standpoint. And we know that Lotus feels passionately about their quality control. And so
we are small.
Yeah.
We only have, I think there's 27 full-time people that work for Lotus, including the 5 outside sales staff.
Wow.
And then the people that work in our cannery. So
That's amazing.
We are a small company.
That's very small.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and so people ask me frequently, like, what are your standards to carrying the foods that you carry? What do you guys ask of the food companies that you carry? And one of the main things we talk about is quality control and how and where your food is made and what kind of standards you have for the ingredients and what kind of standards you have for the places that make your pet food, because that's important to us.
It's very
So we really love it when companies feel equally as passionate about pets as we do. And I love that Darren rescues senior chihuahuas. That's a new tidbit of information for me today.
Yeah.
So we have loved having you guys. Let's see. Marty says, this has been very informative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Marty, for joining us. And thanks to all of you. For those of you who have commented, if you would like to try something specific, please be sure to comment on the thread and tell us what you'd like to try, and we will message you after this is over with a special surprise from us and Lotus Pet Foods. And then if you'd like to come in to our Battleground store tomorrow and visit with Carrie, if you have any additional questions, or if you're watching this after we go off the air, you can come in and visit her tomorrow between the hours of 11 and 2 at our Battleground location, and she'll be happy to help you out and give you some coupons and tell you more about the questions you have. So thanks for joining us,
Thank you
coming
for
up
having
here
me.
from
Yes.
Florida and participating with us today. And thanks to you guys for joining us and taking the time to watch this. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. Now that the rain's gone, we're going to have some sunshine and maybe the warmth will return. So you guys have a fabulous weekend, and we will talk to you soon. I hope to speak with a lot of you via message because we do have some special surprises. So please, please, please message us. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye. Guys.